When the lies told become as terribly obvious as they are, a humane person would turn their mind to ask, what did they want to do it for? There are individuals, Miles Kirshner comes to mind, who was carving out a name for himself as a representative of the liberal class in Washington journalism affairs. Sort of person who had credibility at the New Republic, Commentary, The Nation, because they had the same sense of humor, the same cynicism about things like marijuana, who could come up with a game that had something called the too good principle. Look at what he called a nice blonde boy who had a legacy of which he had been denied by his father's estrangement and the terrifying circumstances of his childhood, all easily slurred with a cruddy sex story conjured by a Neva pornography agent functioning as an aggressive attack prostitute to secure that story for their ends. Slander, in a word, manufactured. One can see why he might want to do it. But to profess that he was a friend through the whole thing strains acceptance. Why would Kathy Hayford sell out a boy she loved to Paul McCartney and Bill Clinton's criminal intentions to do murderous torment and harm based on an injury that they knew the Wanmakers had inflicted and knew I didn't know, so that they could cackle over an illegal tape that they misconstrued in the laboratory of Jaime Carbonell, a jackal working with the pornographic attack prostitute, extruding their word overdubs, and they were working with masters of overdub like Ming-Na Wen from Disney Studio in Mullen, impinging on the persona's experience, to use their words again. For a laboratory of language anthropology that specialized in deliberate misinterpretation. One can almost imagine why Robert Fripp, a sniveler and a wiggler from a foreign country, would cackle with Joan Baez and Brian Eno at the loser of the American left who was deaf and now suffers the degrading decline into mortification of Parkinson's, which they inflicted as a form of African retribution. One can imagine why Peter Gabriel, faced with a rival in the poetic arts, would pull the rabbit Usuender out of his hat by its ears to yammer with his spinner beanie of UW military sociology and experiment in human sacrificialism. One can almost imagine, knowing what a ripper hatter he is from his years in Genesis, why he would do it. But why would the friends around me in Pittsburgh want to do it? Why would Ross Cronenbitter want to hurt Jimmy Carrey, with whom he would dance at all hours, with whom he would write poetry and exchange informed discussions about morality and ethics? Why would the people who attacked me and tortured me as a child do it? What did they have to gain from ruining a child who looked up to them and wanted to be a helpful person who was destined to develop a meaningful poetic consciousness? Why would they do it? Why would black people do it to someone who wrote editorials that were persuasive in favor of divestment from Africa who looked up to them, who studied them, who wanted to contribute manifestly. Why would they do it? Why would they torture, humiliate, sexually stalk, rob fiendishly, and use spy cam videos for compromise, attack prostitution? Why would every Jew in the neighborhood cover for a museum thief just because he was Jewish, sharing in the spite of dishonest appraisal of the person who they had ruined? Why would the royal class of Her Majesty's government seek a scapegoat and something from a person who was the only one who spoke out? Nation magazine talks of Josh Hawley running from Trumpy Tunes mob, but it's nothing like the way that Paul McCartney ran from hideous Ronald Reagan and said, "Let me help you batter the innocent and fool them." Why would they want to do it? Why would they want to burn our planet? They could have saved our planet. They talk about could haves. What about that one? Why would they want to fail in such a thing? Why would they want to puff themselves up as people who understood true character when they couldn't even teach ecology? They couldn't even rise to the moment of climate change education and echo schools when the hour struck. Why would they want to fail? Because surely that's what all of this says, that they want to fail, that they don't care a fig for what happens to the children's futures. Why would they want to fail? Why would they want to do what they did to me? Surely some sensible person wonders, why would they even want to do such a brutal, dishonest gesture of contempt towards a poet and a deaf man who was always helpful, who was always approachable, who was always generous with his time? Why would they want to?